Hey, Sidekick subscribers and viewers out there today, welcome to another day of Shadow of War news. Today I'm going to teach you all about how to infiltrate a fortress with spies and avoid those chaotic, single-out, draw-out war chief missions that, are really hard to do when there's, the alarms going off and people are screaming and you can't fight the war chief because there's got all these bodyguards. Yeah, you can avoid that with infiltration spies. That's your answer. Stick around to learn how. So, infiltration missions is no new thing to the scene of Shadow of War, but I'm going to teach you more in depth about how to use spies to overtake a fortress. So that, in the end, you basically just, like the cakewalk, you just walk in, take the victory points, go straight to the Overlord, done. I mean, it's going to be, easy. So this is how you do it. Alright, so infiltration missions are a way to send your own ORCS or OLOGs to replace the captains of a fortress you are attacking to weaken their defenses, so that the siege mission goes super easy. Streaked. Now, you must use a spy to go in alone, and then he will fight your targeted captain. Now, here's the only catch. You can't aid him in battle like, we would do in Shadow of Mordor. You know how you'd have two orcs going at it and facing off, and you could intervene and start to help them out? Well, you can't do that with your spy infiltration missions. Why? Well, because it just doesn't make sense to send Talion with your spy. I mean, if Talion was seen, he'd basically blow the cover of your undercover spy agent if you're present there in the battle. I mean, it would just totally blow his cover and make no sense, and it would just ruin everything. So, yeah, it's logical. Logic wins. Next, following up the battle and sending in your ORC or OLOG to fight, it's kind of a bit of a gamble because he'll go up against another captain. In some cases, that captain, you won't know who he is, and so he's all shrouded in shadow and you don't know who he is. You might be fighting someone that's way past his level and is going to kill him. So there's always a possibility that your spy might die in the fight pit, and of course, who doesn't love a good fight pit scene? I mean, that's awesome and going to be enjoyable to see your orcs battling it out, and really just kind of a cool cinematic thing to watch until, well, your orc dies, or he kills the other orc, in which case if he wins, he assumes his position, and you move along and sending in more spies to get to the war chief and then eventually betray the war chief. Now, what happens if your spy dies? Well, you still have a chance of actually getting loot. In both scenarios of winning or losing, you have the chance of getting loot, but you get the chance of getting more loot if you win against your selected target. Now, if your spy dies in the pit fight, wow, that was totally unintentional. Now, if he loses, if he dies, Talion will be given the chance to dominate the victorious orc. As he's leaving the pit, you can attack him and even dominate him, which would be great because now he'll be a spy, a bodyguard to the war chief, which will help you move along and getting in your spies to take over the fortress one orc at a time. Now, there is also an option to bypass the whole infiltration fight scene of the pit fight, and you can do so by branding the bodyguard of the war chief in the fortress. Now, that's assuming you know who he is, and by selecting him as a target. Similar to Shadow of Mordor, you single him out, go after him, and try to brand him. Now, of course, there are risks involved as always, but that's a way to bypass the whole infiltration. But we're talking about spies and infiltration and awesome secret missions, so let's stick to that, shall we? Now, spies who become war chiefs, what do? Well, they can be commanded to actually draw out an enemy war chief. So let's say you get all of the bodyguards as your own spies. You slip them in. They're the moles in the fortress of epicness, and you're going to take them over. And so when you go to fight the war chief, you call him out, and guess what? He'll say, "Time to die, boss!" And he makes a betrayal happen, and you fight all together, including Talion at that point, and you kill the war chief, at which time you'll then put a new guy, an orc of your choice, as the war chief. And so he might have to prove himself in battle, but you get the point. He becomes the war chief, and then you have the chance now to draw out other war chiefs and avoid the long process of having to draw them out on your own. You now can send your spy war chief to attack another war chief within the fortress. Now, this is great because it, again, saves you time and helps, bring more forces to your aid in taking on the rest of the war chiefs, expediting the siege control missions that, of course, is the long-term goal to get to the Overlord. However, be strategic because once you send your war chief spy on that mission, his cover will be blown. Totally, completely. I mean, it makes sense if you're sending a war chief spy to go fight another war chief, he's going to be like, "Oi, why are you coming at me with your axe?" He says, "Because I'm going to betray you, I'm a spy." And there you go. It's the expense of drawing out the enemy war chief. Now, some questions and answers from the devs, and some of the questions asked by the stream was, can overlords figure out that they have spies among them? And the answer is an astounding yes, and they said it's pretty cool. So that must be interesting, and I think they actually demonstrated that for us in other streams, and it's got to be neat, the dialogue that takes place, and I think that's kind of the cool part they were referring to. Next question is, can all war chiefs be spies? Can all war chiefs in the fortress be a spy? And the answer is yes. You can convert them all, brand them all, take it over, and it's going to be fantastic. If you have all of the war chiefs as yours, branded for the Bright Lord, the victory points are right for the taking. I mean, you just show up on the scene and boom, you claim it, because after all, you've conquered all the orcs and there's no one hardly to fight besides some grunts. Furthermore, your spy will probably also blow up a nearby wall to enable you better and faster access to that point, as well as your army attacking in the siege. It's like a walk in the park. Isn't that awesome? Next question is, do archers have a disadvantage in the fight pit? Say you send in a spy who's an archer, and the answer is no. And also to be taken into consideration is that all orcs have certain strengths and weaknesses, so there's nothing intrinsic about a archer that makes him better or worse. It just really depends on the matchup, and there are certain super effective attacks against orcs with specific weaknesses, just like Pokemon. Da-da-da, 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 ba. J.R.R, use Fire Blast! Yeah, it's not effective against Blastoids. You get the idea, don't you? Next. Can a war chief betray an overlord? Hey, that sounds pretty interesting, right? And the answer is yes, but not with any benefits in the battle besides the ensuing emotional satisfaction in the dialogue interaction of your spy and overlord. Imagine that. "Hey, boss, remember me?" "What, you're a spy?" "That's right, it's time to die." And that's pretty much it. Unless if they go into battle with you, which you could probably summon them somehow, but really it's just pretty much Talion and the Overlord at that point, and the enjoyment of the emotional satisfaction. Don't quote me on that. I think maybe they could also join you in battle too, but the devs didn't seem to make a big deal about it like that. They just kind of said, yeah, he can, but it's not really as great as it is in taking over victory points. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope it was informative, and now you know how to take over a fortress with all spies. Fantastic. Awesome. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos coming your way as we're counting down to the release of Shadow of War. It's coming out soon. Can't you just feel it in your veins? Well, this is Hero 87, your host, signing off. Sayonara, sidekicks. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to slam that like button with a bone-shattering wraith punch to the face. The harder you smash it, the better. No, really, it really helps this channel out.